Welcome back to the Galley of the Sun. Charlotte and I ran to the grocery store today to do some running, and when we were there, we saw these gorgeous tomahawk steaks. So, short notice video, wanted to get this out there. We're going to dry brine these today and then grill them tomorrow. So I wanted to talk about dry brining. So dry brining is a process of putting salt onto the meat to allow it to draw some of the moisture out, to enhance the flavor, but still allow them to be moist, juicy once they're cooked. So they'll turn out perfectly. This process was made famous by a chef in San Francisco. It's much like wet brining, where it has salt added to it, but we're not adding any moisture like wet brining. When you add salt to the meat, the salt is made out of sodium and chloride. Well, those do a process what's called denaturing, and so it'll draw some of the moisture out, enhance the flavor of the meat, but still leave it moist and juicy throughout. Start about a teaspoon of salt per pound is what average. I'm going to salt each side, put them on a tray with a wire rack to allow them to have air flow through across both sides for about 24 hours, and then we'll pull them out tomorrow and we'll do a reverse seared grill, and we'll record that as well. Here we go. As always, dirty hand, clean hand. These tomahawks are about 2 3/4 pounds each. So big pieces of meat, just like doing a brisket or a rack of ribs. Don't be afraid to that you're going to over salt them. Notice I didn't spray them like what I do when I am seasoning up a piece of meat. We don't want to add any moisture to it. What we're doing is we're going to pull some of that moisture out. That looks good. Nice and coated all sides. Maybe a little more on that side. There we go. We'll get the next one and get those in the fridge for tomorrow. There we go. When you put them on the rack, make sure there's plenty of room for air to circulate all the way around it. Tomorrow, when we pull these out, you'll see there'll be no salt crystals left on the surface of the. All of that salt will be processed through, some of it absorbed into the steak. Don't worry, it's not going to taste oversalted, right? This dry brining process takes care of that. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. The steaks are dry brined for 24 hours now. Look at the rich red color that has come out in these beautiful tomahawks. The intermuscular fat is really showing through. These are going to be so juicy and tender, but we need to get them on the grill early because it's going to take a long time for these to cook offset with as thick as they are. Like with the black and blue steaks, we're going to start with a little spray of avocado oil. To use as a binder. Today we're using the First Street steak and chop rub. Great steak rub. You can get it at, I think Costco sells this, or some of the restaurant supply stores. Make sure you get both sides real good. This rub is heavy garlic, a little bit of pepper, medium salt, so just really going to enhance the flavor of these tomahawks. All right, that looks good. Let's head out the pit. We're out at the pit. We're using the natural gas grill here today. We're going to reverse sear, so the left hand side is on high, heating up to 400 to 450 degrees. The right hand side is completely off. It's going to be cool. So we're going to take the steaks, set them up on the right hand side, let them get to an internal temperature of about 98 to 100 degrees, and then we'll shift them over to sear the outside, get a nice char for texture and taste over on the left. We'll have to rotate them around a little bit. These are big pieces of meat, so we want them to cook evenly throughout the cook. I suspect it'll take a good 35 to 40 minutes to get up to the temp we want to get to before we move them over to char. Okay, now we're just waiting. Okay, the steaks are done. They're up to the temperature that we want for the offset. They got about to 104. Now we're going to open it up, leave it open, and sear them over on the hot side. Pull my probe out here. I'm using a Tapacue probe. I love it. So we're going to set these over here. Get a nice char on them. Rotate them about 45 degrees. Here in about 40 seconds, and then we'll flip them over 45 seconds after that. Do the same thing. Once we know we have a good char on both sides, we'll pull them in, we'll let them rest for 15 minutes. Like a brisket, these are big pieces of meat, so we need to let them rest at least 15 minutes to allow the juices to get back out throughout the steak. You can see we're already getting a little bit of flare up from that fat releasing. Yeah, I've said it before, know your pit, know where your hot spots are. Know where your cold spots are, so that you can get an even cook when you're doing big pieces of meat like this. The tomahawks have rested about 17 minutes, tented under foil. We're going to go ahead and take a look, give it a taste, and get ready because the director will be home in about 5 minutes. We need to make sure dinner's ready for her. Here we go. Oh, don't those look beautiful? Oh, look at that. That perfect medium rare. Gorgeous. Got the beautiful intermuscular fat there. It's going to be nice and juicy and tender. Let's take a taste. Juicy, melt in your mouth, buttery texture. Not overly salted from that dry brining. Perfect amount of salt, even after adding the rub onto the outside. It's fantastic. Hey, if you like what you saw today, give us a thumbs up. Don't be afraid of these tomahawks. They're a little pricey, but man, are they worth it. Hit that subscribe button. Let us know what you think, leaving a comment. We'll see you next time on the Galley of the Sun.